After the events of the battle with Rip and the other Negator hunters, we now go back to the Union base with the rest of the Union members, along with Chikara as the 11th member. However, something significant will happen in this arc that will completely change the course of the story. Let's get started. After successfully recruiting Chikara to join the Union, Apocalypse presented another set of quests to complete, now with their newly found member. Apocalypse explained that the quests they were receiving had the 100th penalty at stake. This round, the quests were open to every living person on Earth who had the right to participate. He then presented 4 quests: the neutralization of Yuma Spring with the reward of the location of the artifact Aegis, the neutralization of Yuma Summer with the reward of the location of the Negator Unchange, the capture of Yuma Autumn with the reward of adding Yuma Ghost, and the neutralization of Yuma Winter with the reward of the artifact Remember. The Union had to complete all these quests by December 31st, because if all quests were not fulfilled by the deadline, the penalty would be the addition of Yuma Revolution. Chikara was puzzled by this, while Shin understood that open to everyone applied to people like Mui. Juiz agreed and explained that people outside of the Round Table were free to enter. She added that they were likely to face opponents on a grand enough scale to warrant their participation, so they must unite their non-Round Table members to complete those quests. Billy then interrupted, pointing out that the book said those quests held the 100th penalty, so he thought completing them wouldn't be easy. He warned that if some of them died before they even reached the 101st penalty, that would seal their defeat. Considering the difficulty of the quests, he bluntly suggested dropping a few nukes on them. This suggestion unsettled the other members, who gave Billy uneasy looks. Tatiana questioned Billy's idea, explaining that it would result in the loss of many innocent lives. Billy acknowledged this, but argued that those tiny portion would be the only loss, confusing Tatiana. He continued, calling Juiz naive for always seeking the best outcome, as if expecting another chance. Juiz, confused, asked for clarification, and Billy bluntly stated that she couldn't do it. No matter how many times she tried, they couldn't defeat God. He then pulled out his guns and started shooting at the members. During this, Andy noticed something odd, stemming from when Unseen was taken and under sudden appearance. Andy and Shin cornered Billy to stop the shooting. Billy, cornered, asked Juiz, first in this sort of situation? Well, Juiz? Juiz replied, "You're mighty slow on the draw, you know." After the shooting, it was revealed that Ishin was hit in the neck by a bullet. Nico instructed Top to remove Ishin's armor so he could assess the wound. Billy remarked that he had managed to take down Unbreakable, which he deemed perfect. Unable to contain his anger, Top rushed at Billy and kicked him in the face, breaking his neck and apparently killing him. Tatiana, shocked by Top's action, tried to speak with him about what he had done. Top argued that Billy had shot at them and injured Ishin, labeling him a clear traitor. Suddenly, the supposedly dead Billy jumped onto the table, rhetorically asking why they, as negators, should concern themselves with the lives of the incompetent masses forced to fight. He argued that the masses' lives should be sacrificed as well, implying this was part of their plan. Suddenly, a giant hand emerged from underground, grabbing the entire round table. It was then revealed that the hand belonged to Yuma Burn and was under Billy's control. Furthermore, it was disclosed that Billy was part of the group under, and he boldly proclaimed that he would be the one to kill God. In a flashback, we see Tatiana asking Billy why he put on his spurs again today. Billy answered that he uses the sound to see around him. Tatiana argued that she knew that, but he already had her and didn't need those things when she was around. She reminded him that she had already told him she'd be his eyes no matter what, to which Billy laughed and agreed, saying that he needs Tatiana. In the present, a shocked Fuko asked Andy if Billy had just betrayed them, and Andy agreed. Fuko then tried to comfort and explain to Tatiana what was happening, but she was interrupted by a familiar voice. Atop Burn, Fuko saw Latla with Rip and mentioned that Latla was Rip's wife, prompting Rip to playfully comment on their appearance, which led Latla to slap him. Rip then noted that Fuko looked like she had lost weight since he last saw her and gotten prettier, making Fuko flustered. She explained it might be because she had done a lot of training in the past 2 months. Rip quickly dismissed his comment, saying she was pretty far away, so it might just be his imagination, angering Fuko and causing her to bonk Andy on the head multiple times. When Andy mentioned that it seemed Billy was part of Under, Tatiana strongly argued against it, saying he didn't know the first thing about Billy. She explained that Top broke Billy's neck earlier, but he repaired himself, which was not how Billy's ability worked. She elaborated that Billy's ability, Unbelievable, only worked with guns. He shoots in a direction bound to miss his target and ricochets the bullet to ensure it hits. It's a sure hit ability. She insisted this was true because she was the only one Billy had told. On their side, Cheek-Arrow was panicking, comparing Yuma Burn to a summoned beast from Final Fantasy. Andy told him to fall back and calm his nerves. Rip jokingly called Unmove a scaredy cat and praised Billy for bringing along a gruesome beast like Burn, referring to Billy as boss. This puzzled Tatiana. Top charged at Billy, calling him a filthy traitor, but Billy moved quickly and landed a blow on Top, sending him plummeting to the ground, shocking Fuko and Andy. Billy commented on Top's power, unstoppable, but noted its brutal shut-off condition. Top can't stop unless his body undergoes a dramatic change. Billy then regenerated a broken foot, seemingly copying Top's unstoppable and Andy's regeneration powers. Juiz, Shin, and Andy then faced Billy head-on. Surprisingly, their attacks changed intentions, with Andy pointing his bullet to Fuko, Juiz aiming her blade at her own neck, and Shin's staff retracting. Billy then said they could peer into people's hearts, and what they were doing at the moment was their visions of justice being negated. While this was happening, Juiz was puzzled about how Billy could use her ability. He then stated he would take those abilities for himself, along with the round table, and instructed Burn to sway them all away. Billy called out to Tatiana, inviting her to come with him, explaining he needed her ability. He tried to convince her by saying she owed him for saving her life and tempting her with the promise of returning to a normal body. This was interrupted by Fuko shooting Billy in the face with her artifact. Fuko explained that if there's one thing she knows, it's how influential someone can be who comes along and saves your life when you have no sense of self-worth. She then added that what she doesn't know, however, is the sadness that comes from that person betraying you. Realizing Tatiana wouldn't join him, Billy declared her an enemy too and instructed Burn to leave, planning to escape by melting the ceiling. Juiz shouted that they mustn't let him escape, as they would lose their only way to oppose God if he stole the round table. Andy, with many questions, was determined to stop Billy and hyped up Fuko, saying he was counting on her for a real doozy. When Juiz started having doubts because Burn was strong, Andy explained that they stood a chance. He informed her that as long as the girl from the report he made earlier was there, orthodox attacks wouldn't land, so they would rely on Fuko's randomness. Juiz then agreed to Andy's plan and commanded all the members to stop Billy and Burn, focusing on helping Andy and Fuko with their plan. She instructed Nico to focus on treating Ishin and Top, and granted the lab members control of the facility to stop Burns in its tracks. In a room, Nico instructed his daughter, Miko, to lead the lab members. Juiz also told Shin and Phil to go to the depository because there was a chance that Under might try to steal the artifacts, and she instructed Cheek-Arrow to stop her bleeding using Unmove. When she was about to call out Tatiana, she saw Fuko already comforting her, saying that she was sure there was some reason behind Billy's actions and that Tatiana knew better how wonderful of a person Billy was. After that, Tatiana let Fuko handle Billy, and Juiz began their operation to support Fuko and Andy. While that was happening, Rip commented on how easy it was to take the round table and expected more from the Union. Billy then said that it wouldn't be as easy as they thought, and they had simply caught them off guard, but it wouldn't be long before they came to stop their momentum. Rip was surprised that their boss held the third seat of Union, revealing it was their first time meeting each other. Rip then said that he and Latla would help him, but killing God wasn't their final objective, and they were there because Billy said he'd give them that. Rip also clarified and asked, "You won't be betraying us now, will you, Mr. Billy?" To which Billy responded that it was fine with him, and they didn't operate under some vague motive like justice. The only thing they stood by was trust derived from their mutual interests. Soon, Miko instructed her team to relocate all their giant Yuma Freeze storage cooling devices to try to stop Burn, and while Top tried to remove Ishin's helmet, Nico shouted at Miko, saying that they should add in the electromagnetic cables to buy more time. Miko argued that those were weak to heat, but Miko quickly turned that down and said that their goal was to make it look like a capture while they gathered up sources, and she should just focus on building a dangerous assortment. On the other hand, Andy and Fuko were heading towards Burn. Andy had some questions for Billy because Billy and Rip didn't seem to have the same goal. He was struggling to believe Billy made a new organization because he thought it would be more efficient for Billy to work with the Union. He then said that, however, there was one thing that was clear. Billy made one of their friends cry, so they should beat him up before talking. After jumping from wall to wall, they finally caught up to Burn, and Juiz informed them that all their preparations were complete. Andy and Fuko went to face Billy, and Billy quickly activated Injustice on the two. Fuko started swinging her sword at herself, so Billy thought she planned to kill herself. Suddenly, Andy went on to let himself get cut by Fuko while having a plan. Their stunt made Rip and Latla shocked. Fuko then kissed Andy to put some unluck on him, and Rip realized what they were doing. Andy used Part's bullet. Head and Rip saw that they were going to use it to land a huge stroke of unluck on Burn. Andy's head went inside Burn's mouth, and not long after, electromagnetic cables started to misfire into Burn. After that, Miko followed up and used the freezing devices they prepared to freeze Burn in place. Billy then stated that it wouldn't hold them, and they were simply delaying the inevitable. Fuko argued that it wasn't over yet and there was more on the way, courtesy of everyone. They brought out a huge pile cannon made by Unbreakable and loaded it into what looked like a fast-moving four-way conveyor belt. It then pierced into Burn, which was originally a stroke of unluck for Andy. The Union cheered while Billy still looked undeterred. Top and Nico were impressed by the feat, remarking that it was a serious stroke of unluck. Top then expressed his desire to join the fight, but Nico questioned whether Top's legs, still in recovery, could withstand another acceleration. Juiz and Chikara realized that Tatiana was no longer beside them. In the following scene, Andy rushed at Billy and punched him in the face for his actions towards Tatiana. Billy noted that Andy's sense of pain is dulled due to Undead, but realized Andy has simply developed a fighting style that involves gradually repairing himself, which Billy appreciates. He activated Undead again, and Andy recognized that Billy was using his powers. He then asked Fuko for his gun and katana to prevent Billy from forcing her into self-harm. When Latla inquired whether it was time to assist Billy, Rip suggested they stand back to determine if Billy was worthy of being their boss. In a moment, Billy employed Top's Unstoppable and began moving rapidly to disorient Andy, although Andy noted that Billy's usage lacked Top's finesse. Billy managed to deliver a powerful blow to Andy, sending him crashing into a wall. Billy revealed that although Andy might see an attack coming, he must still block it, pinpointing Fuko as Andy's vulnerability. He then cast Injustice on Fuko, forcing her to walk to the edge of the round table and reverse her instinct of surviving. Fuko eventually fell, and Andy hurried to catch her. Internally, Andy realized Billy's ability is copying, applicable to the Union members. Billy demanded to know how long Burn planned to nap, before it suddenly freed itself from the Union's traps. Miko and the scientists were dismayed that their assault hadn't pierced Burn's core, realizing the unluck was directed at Andy and therefore lacked precision. They informed Juiz that Burn was mobile again, and they had only 5 minutes before it escaped their base. Upon Juiz's inquiry about Andy and Fuko's safety, Tatiana responded that she caught them as they fell. Juiz scolded Tatiana for leaving her post, but Tatiana insisted on speaking with Billy. Juiz then asked Tatiana directly if she still harbored feelings for Billy, indicating the operation depended on her response. Next, Burn, along with Billy, Rip, and Latla, successfully exited the Union's hideout, revealed to be at Stonehenge. Tatiana confronted Billy, demanding to know why he had betrayed them. Billy argued that as long as God and the rules existed, their world would always be unfair. When Tatiana tried to counter, Billy cut her off, declaring she meant nothing to him, and attempted to use injustice on her. Amid tears and reflecting on Juiz's question, a flashback showed Tatiana and Billy sharing a special connection. Tatiana then declared she still had feelings for Billy and manages to still use her untouchable power, even though Billy had used injustice on her, which puzzlingly didn't affect her actions. Billy was bewildered why his power wasn't working if Tatiana was acting justly on the Union's behalf. He soon realized that Tatiana wasn't targeting him, but Apocalypse instead. Andy and Fuko managed to snatch Apocalypse from Billy's grasp. Andy sarcastically noted that without a seat at the round table, Billy wouldn't be able to initiate quests in Apocalypse's absence. While Fuko pointed her revolver at Apocalypse's face, Apocalypse had enough and did something to Fuko. Suddenly, Apocalypse gave Fuko what looked like a vision of some sort, where Juiz is with Victor, Gina, and Void, and even some involving Nico in a dire situation, in what looks like Juiz and Victor's past. Because of that, Fuko released Apocalypse due to the overwhelming number of visions she received. Apocalypse explained that he had more years under his belt than any other artifacts and holds enough memories to prove it, hinting that those are memories, meaning that those events happened in some way. When Apocalypse tried to escape, Phil managed to catch him, but Apocalypse couldn't do the same to him because of his unfeelability. Shin then took Andy and Fuko with his Kinto-1 cloud, surprising Andy that they could ride a cloud. Billy let them get Apocalypse back and explained that all he needed to do was retrieve it by the deadline of the 31st. He then mentioned that they would be the first to secure the Ark and instructed them to tell Juiz they wouldn't let her have it. This Ark thing puzzled Andy and the rest as they didn't have a clue what it was. After that, Billy and his team got away with the round table, and Juiz instructed them that it was enough stopping them. In the next scene, Juiz informed the members that she would discuss something. She asked Nico for a damage report, and Nico told her that it wasn't as bad as they thought and forcing a draw by stealing Apocalypse was the right cause because if another fight had broken out, it would have been a lot worse. She also checked on Fuko's state, so Nico explained that her mind would ease down soon. Andy then asked a question, stating that the first time he felt something was off was when he heard Juiz's policy toward the set of quests with the galaxy as the penalty. He pointed out that she said she wasn't worried about clearing all the quests, just strengthening her forces. In retrospect, that was a pretty lax attitude to take. She ran the risk of losing members for the round table, and with Ragnarok drawing near, he said that was way too passive of an approach. Shin also commented, saying that he had been curious about Juiz's familiarity with Victor as he thought she only knew him as a hero that existed before they were born. He pointed out that last time they met, they exchanged names, and he later learned that Andy hadn't let him fully out in close to 200 years. He added that Victor seemed privy to the galaxy's existence before the rule was even added, as if he had lived in a world where it already existed. Nico then joined the conversation, saying that he too was curious about the so-called Ark, as he didn't have any data logged for an artifact like that. Juiz removed her helmet and started explaining. She said that they shouldn't worry, as in that state, her ability wouldn't be an issue unless they answered a question from her about their vision of justice. She first noted that there was something about their world that they all needed to know. She then revealed that their world is on a loop, in a constant cycle of destruction and renewal, all thanks to God's handiwork, and the Union is an organization she created to put a stop to that. The members were puzzled by this revelation, and when Andy was about to ask Juiz something, Fuko interrupted, saying that now she understood the meaning of the memories Apocalypse had given her. She confirmed with Juiz if those images from Apocalypse were from before things were recreated. Juiz agreed and explained that it was the story of her inadequacy leading to defeat. Fuko then tried to argue that she was wrong, but Juiz quickly brushed it off, saying that was precisely why she assembled the components. All encountered over the course of multiple deaths, she assembled even stronger weapons and warriors. She assembled negators, capable of killing God. The members asked Juiz what she meant by loop, with Chikara assuming it meant the world was repeating the same events over and over. Andy questioned why only Juiz was aware of this. Top attempted to ask Nico for insight, but Nico also had no knowledge of it. Juiz explained that there are several ways to discover the loop, but she had been using Ark to experience it firsthand. Andy asked for proof, so Juiz offered to describe how the world would end and begin. She explained that their planet would be destroyed by God, then a new planet would form, with fragments of the old Earth remaining as meteorites, which are what Fuko's Unluck summons. Upon hearing this, Fuko was shocked. Juiz added that Fuko had been summoning these meteorites even before the galaxy rule was added. Juiz then revealed that the only personal proof she had was her knowledge of a mole behind Andy's right ear, which Fuko confirmed. Juiz acknowledged the limited proof but noted there aren't many constants across cycles. Andy, addressing the close relationship between Juiz and Victor, prompted Juiz to reminisce about their past. Fuko, still puzzled, burst out with questions. Juiz clarified she wasn't alone, implying her long companionship with Victor. Andy deduced that Juiz used the Ark, and Victor had been living in their world since the rule of death was added, meaning Andy wouldn't die even if the world ended. Juiz revealed two ways to avoid the rules: dying or killing God. She admitted to keeping secrets and manipulating her comrades, suspecting Billy's insurrection stemmed from a leak about the loop. She apologized and expressed her willingness to atone for her actions, but emphasized the importance of their mission. As Juiz bowed, Shin told her to stop, uncomfortable with her lowering herself. Meanwhile, Ishin worked on something, and Andy expressed his belief in Juiz's vision of justice. Ishin completed a new roundtable for the group. Resuming their discussion, Juiz outlined 4 ongoing quests and emphasized the need to locate the stolen roundtable and Under's base. She stressed the urgency of apprehending Billy, crushing Under, and reclaiming the artifacts and roundtable, intending to use anything they possess that might aid in defeating God. Juiz then assigned Andy and Fuko a mission to verify the authenticity of a book that might contain the past and future events of their world, written by an artifact. The uncertainty of their path forward made the book crucial for their quests. Fuko questioned her suitability for such a crucial task, but Juiz insisted she and Andy were the best candidates. She then revealed the book she was talking about, and it was made clear why she picked Fuko for the mission. The book she was pertaining to is the favorite book of Fuko, the book titled To You, From Me, the book that she used as her life's Bible, and the masterpiece by Onii-Chan.